Hey guys, in this video let us talk about the basics of Surds. So when it comes to Surds, there are two main things you have to know. The first is you need to know about the laws of Surds, okay, and how to apply them. And the second thing you have to know is conjugate, right? What you're going to do when you face a fraction with Surd. And if you don't know what I'm saying, as in if you don't know what is conjugate, then you might want to watch this video. Okay, so before we get into that, let us cover some basics first. So first of all, what is Surd? If I give you this comparison here, square root 4 and square root 5, which of these is Surd? Well, this will be Surd. Because why? Because square root 4 will end up becoming 2, right? Or plus minus 2. So you can actually solve this. So when you can solve this, it becomes a square root, okay? A root. But if you can't solve it, you get, not to say you can't, you can, but it's just that you get a non-recurring decimal that doesn't end. Okay, let's say this is what you call as a surd. If you don't get a whole number answer, that means it's a surd. Okay, so this is a surd. So for example, this is also a surd, right? Because you can't get a whole number answer. Alright, so that's the first thing you have to know. What is surd? Okay, so now later on we will need some of the skills that I'm going to show you here. The first thing you have to know is this: when you have two surd value multiply each other, you actually just cancel it, right? This is actually the same as this. Okay, so when you have a square and a square root, you can actually cancel it. Same goes to this. When you have two of the same surd value multiplying each other, you can just cancel the surd. Okay, so it becomes 13. Okay, so please understand this concept, because we're going to be using some of that later. So now let us go to the first part, the two laws of surd. So when it comes to surd, right, when you multiply two surds, you can combine the two values in the surd. Okay, so for example, you see here, when you multiply surd A and surd B, you just have to combine A and B, okay, multiply them in the surd. Okay, and the second law is when you divide them, you just divide the value in the surd. So A divided by B. Okay, so these are the two laws of surds. It's very easy, right? Now let us go through some questions, okay, basic questions. So now simplify, okay, question A, simplify surd 50. So surd 50, how are you going to solve? We have to find the factors of 50. So let's say 50 we can do 1 times 5, sorry, 1 times 50, okay, is equals to 50. You can do 2 times 25. You can do 5 times 10. Okay, so out of this, which one are you going to choose? Which one are you going to choose? So the answer is I'm going to choose this. Why? Because from here, 2 times 25, I can actually square root the 25. So I can make it in a more simpler form. So for example, let's say I'm going to break this. So it becomes 2 times 25. Correct? 2 times 25 is 50. So 2 times 25, remember I told you when you multiply two values, you put them together, right? So you can also break them. So this is the first, based on the first law. Okay, this law here. Okay, when you multiply, you can put them together, and it also works the other way. So that means if they are together, you can break them apart separately. So that's what we are going to do here. The 2 times 25, I'm going to break it to become surd 2 times surd 25. Why am I doing this? Because this one I can solve, right? I can change it. Surd square root 25 is 5. So I get 5 surd 2. That's it, right? That is why I didn't choose the second, for the first and the third option, right? Because both of these will not help me simplify the surd. Okay, so that's why I did that. So now let's see the second one, a bit more challenging, okay, a slightly more challenging one. Now, what are we gonna do? If you notice, you got this surd 2, right? Right. So that is the most simplest form. You can't break it anymore. So, but what we can do is, since here is 2, right? This 8 here, I can also change to 2, right? What can I do? Well, 8 is the same as 4 times 2. Correct? So I can have a 2 here. So I will be the same as the cert 2 on the left. And what about this? 72 I can change to 36 times 2. So all of them will end up having a cert 2. So we're going to do that. So it's going to be square root 36 times 2 plus 3 cert 2 minus 4 times 2. Okay, so if I rewrite this, it's the same as 36. I'm going to break it apart like this. Okay, plus 3 cert 2 minus 4 times cert 2. Okay, so square root 36, you get 6. So 6 cert 2 plus 3 cert 2 minus square root 4, you get 2. 2 cert 2. So this is actually the same as, if you are confused, how do I solve this? Well, it's actually the same as this. Right? It's basically the same as, because all of them have cert 2, right? So you can replace it with, let's say, x, okay, or y, any variable. So it's actually the same thing. You're just going to add up or subtract based on what the question is asking for. You don't have to care about the cert 2. Clear? So in the end, you'll get your answer. 6 plus 3, okay, 9, minus 2, you get 7. So you get 7 cert 2. Clear? So that is your answer. So we have done with the basics of certs, and we have already covered the laws of certs. Okay, so now let's go to the second part, which is the conjugate. Okay, how to solve conjugate. So whenever you have a fraction, okay, a fraction that has cert at the bottom, okay, for example, we want to remove that cert. We try not to leave cert value at the denominator of the fraction. Okay, we don't do that. So how do we eliminate? That's why we multiply a conjugate. So for example, let's see the first one here. Cert 5. How do you remove cert 5? So remember just now I gave you the first example. I said when you see this, what happens? The square root, you cancel each other, right? So you get 13. Okay, it's the same as this, right? You can cancel, so you're left with 13. So you're going to apply the same thing here. So you got cert 5. So to remove the cert, we times another cert 5, and here also times cert 5. So what do we have? We have on the top, you have 2 cert 5, and at the bottom you multiply cert 5 and cert 5, you get 5. That's how you do it. Okay, so the key thing is you want to remove the cert from the denominator. Okay, now let's see question B. So now we are going to multiply, same thing, 7 cert 5 times 7 cert 5. So what do we get? Well, 7 times 3, you get 21. So 21 cert 5. So the bottom is 7 times 7, you get 49. And then cert 5 times cert 5, you get 5. So it's actually multiply. Okay, so in the end, you get 21 cert 5 over, so wait, 49 times 5, what do you get? Let me see. 49 times 5, you get 245. Okay, 245. So this one, you can continue to simplify. Okay, I think both of these can divide by 7. 245 divided by 7, you get 35. Yes, so you can actually divide by 7, you get 3, divide by 7, you get 35. So your answer is 3 cert 5 over 35. This is one way you can solve. Now some students, if they are more experienced or more familiar with this, what they can do is, instead of multiplying 7 cert 5, okay, what they can do is, they can straight away, let's say I write this here, straight away multiply by cert 5. No need you don't have to multiply the 7, because you just want to remove the cert 5, right? You're going to remove the 7. So when you multiply the cert 5, you get 3 cert 5. At the bottom here, you get 7 times cert 5 times cert 5 is 5. So your final answer is 3 cert5 over 35. So same thing as the other way. Okay, it's just that this way you have to simplify further, but this one you straight away get the answer. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend all of you all to use this method, because I would say the standard way, this method, okay, will allow you to solve most of, I think almost every question you can solve using this. When it gets even more complicated, if you do this, you're less likely to get wrong. Okay, but this one, it may not be able to apply to all questions. Some questions you might need to add the 7 there, okay, for some questions. But if you are familiar with all this, then you can use the second method. But if you are still unsure of how to play around with these cert questions, right, I suggest you just stick with the standard way. Okay, just see whatever is at the denominator, just times it again. Okay, now let's go to a more complicated one. Now, what if the fraction is not a single value? So like you see here, it's not a single value. So what are you going to do? So the conjugate of this is you're going to multiply. So this one here, multiply by the same thing, but instead of here is minus, right? We do the opposite. So we're going to put plus. So the same thing up here. Now, question is, why are we doing this? Now, this one applies this property which you have learned before. For example, a plus b times a minus b equals to a square minus b square. Okay, this property. When you see there's a plus and there's a minus, so all you have to do is you just take these two, because they are the same, right? So you just square the two of them, and these two you just square the two of them. Okay, so you get b square here and a square here, and then this one will always be minus. Now, how does this apply here? So for example, let's say this question, right? 3 minus cert 5 and 3 plus cert 5. So since one is minus, one is plus, you just have to square these numbers. Okay, so when you square 3, you get 9, and then you square cert 5, you remain 5, right? Because cert 5 square is, you just remove the cert, so you just write 5 there, and the middle here is always minus. So 9 minus 5, you get 4. So you see here, there is no longer any cert. Okay, so that's why we multiply the opposite of that. Clear? Because you want to remove the cert from the denominator. So in this case, what you have is 4, okay, wait, I write like this, 4, 3 plus cert 5, and then the bottom here you have 3 minus cert 5 and 3 plus cert 5. Okay, so you got this. So now you can expand. So you get 12 plus 4 cert 5, and you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it like this. 4. Okay, the bottom, so we have already calculated, the bottom is 4. Okay, so what you can do? You can cancel, right? So okay, wait, let me erase this. So you have what? Your answer is 3 plus cert 5. So isn't this is a much simpler form compared to the fraction above? Right? It's more simpler. So that's why we multiply this is what we call as the conjugate. Okay, the opposite of it, so that we can remove the cert from the denominator. Okay. Now let's look at the B question. So same thing. We are going to multiply. So on the left hand side, okay, I'm going to write here. Left hand side, I'm going to multiply by. Okay, this one actually you can rearrange, right? You rearrange it, it looks like this. Okay, 5 cert 7 over plus 1 plus 5 over cert 7 minus 1. So why am I doing this? Because I just want to make it the same format lah. Okay, cert in front, then the number behind. So what you can do is you can multiply this side by cert 7 minus 1, and here also times cert 7 minus 1. Here you times here you have to do what? Plus, Surds 7 plus 1, because here is minus, right? And then here you have to do the same thing, Surds 7 plus 1. Clear? So always multiply the conjugate of this. So since this one is Surds 7 plus 1, so here is minus 1. Okay, minus 1. And since this side is minus 1, so I have to multiply plus 1 plus 1. Clear? Alright, so what do you have? So you will get 5 Surds 7. Okay, I just write out first. Just write it out so that it's easier to see. 5 times Surds 7 minus 1 over Surds 7 plus 1 Surds 7 minus 1. Okay, so now I can combine two of them because they are basically the same. Okay, alright, so now we can expand. So you expand this, and here's you expand. What do you get? You get 5 Surds 7 times Surds 7, you get 5 and then times 7, right? Because no more Surds anymore. Because Surds 7 times Surds 7 is 7. So 5 times 7. So you can just straight away write 35. Minus 5 Surds 7 times 1 is same thing. Plus 5 Surds 7 minus 5 over. So this one, remember the property, when one is plus, one is minus, you just have to square both of them. So you square Surds 7, you get 7, and then minus, you square 1, you still get 1. So what do you get? So here is minus 5 Surds 7, here is plus, so remove, no more, becomes 0, right? And then 35 minus 5, you get 30, and then 7 minus 1, you get 6. So your final answer will be 5. Alright guys, let's look at the ultimate question that I have for you all here. Okay, so this is, it looks very hard, but it's not that as bad as you think. Okay, so now let's see. Given x equals to this and y is equals to this, find this. Okay, so it looks very complicated, right? Now how I would approach this is, instead of just straight away solving it, I try to simplify this first. Okay, so xy square plus x square y, you can actually factorize them, right? You can factorize, you can factorize x, you can factorize y. So you have y plus x. Correct? Did I do it correctly? Yeah, y plus x. Correct. So instead of solving this, what I can do is I can do it separately. Okay, I can do it separately. So let's see. Xy. Let's do the xy first. So x is 1 over 4 plus 3 Surds 2, and then you have to times 1 over 4 minus 3 Surds 2. Okay, so now what do? We can just multiply straight away. So you get 1 over, so here you see they are already a conjugate, so you just have to square each of them. So 4 square is 16 minus this one, what do you get? So 3 Surds 2, when you square it, the 3 you get 9, and then the Surds 2 you get 2. So 9 times 2, 18. So 16 times 18. So your answer here is negative 1 over 2. Okay, so this is the first part. Now we do the second part. Y plus x. Okay, let me go down. So what is y, what is x? Y is 1 over 4 minus 3 Surds 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 3 Surds 2. So this one, you got no choice. You have to multiply the conjugate because you want to make the denominator the same. So you multiply 4 minus Surds 2 and multiply 4 minus Surds 2. Sorry, okay, and then this side same thing, multiply. Here you have to use plus, sorry, 3 Surds 2. Why did I write Surds 2? This is 3, my bad. And then here is 4 plus 3 Surds 2. Okay, now let me scroll down here. Okay, So now we can start solving them. So on the left you have 4 plus 3 surd 2, and then plus on the right hand side you have 4 minus 3 surd 2 over, so they are already the same, so I just write here like this, multiply with the conjugate. Okay, so now what can we do? So you see here 3 surd 2, here is minus 3 surd 2, becomes 0, so no more surd. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So at the bottom you have 16 minus 3 surd 2 square, you get 9, 18, or same thing as just now. Huh? So you get 8 over negative 2. So your answer here is negative 4. Okay, so when we want to solve this, right? I come back here, this part. So we have already found both of them. So xy you've already gotten here. Xy is negative 1 over 2. And you have to multiply with y plus x. So y plus x you have already calculated. We got negative 4. Negative 4. So when you multiply the both of them, negative become positive. So answer is 2. Clear? So it becomes much easier because you broke it down like this. If you go and square it, okay, like that means you just do it by itself like this separately, it becomes a bit harder because you square it, correct? So to prevent yourself from squaring it, I factorize first. Okay, so this is how I would do it. Okay, so that is all for surds. I hope you find this useful, and until next time, hope to see you in my next video. Take care.